So, we first encounter a couple of dinosaurs at the beginning of the film. They were in front of 3 eggs. It will shortly produce the young dinosaurs. Soon later, these eggs hatched, and 3 cuddly dinosaurs sprang out of them. 2 of the dinos stood tall and were engaged. Yet, there was only 1 dinosaur inside the egg. It wasn't emerging and was short in height. Parents gave it the name Arlo. The dinosaur pair then takes their young outside, then take them to their home. They frequently engage in farming, and they cherish one another, and they are now parents. They've developed into a cute family. These little dinosaurs had grown up as time went on. Other dinosaurs were active than Arlo. Parents are assisted by them. Nevertheless, when Arlo was supposed to perform anything, he was unable to. The smallest things frighten it. That dinosaur pair is now calling their young to them. They help them realize that winter appears to be approaching. A lot of food needs to be stored. They built a storage where they keep food. The father dinosaur leaves its mark there after it. The infants were all happy. They claim that we wish to leave our own footprints as well. But the dinosaur's father stops them. It asserts that you are still infants. You need to put a lot of work into it before you can leave your mark. The day you realize you have accomplished anything in life, you can leave your footsteps on that day. I'll be waiting for that day as well. When my children grow up to be like me. The dinosaur's father then offers to check you out today. And if you completed the task that I kindly assigned, you may now leave your mark. Everyone starts to become enthusiastic. Yet Arlo remained unsettling. While he raises the enormous trees, Arlo's brother gathers the wood. The farm gets cleaned up by Arlo's sister. They are now given the go-ahead to leave their footprints. Nevertheless, if we discuss Arlo, nothing has changed. Nothing could be done by it. Thus, its father forbade it. Arlo suffers harm. As its brother arrives, he begins making fun of it. You are unable to help that helpless young child. Then Arlo adds that don't do this. I feel horrible. I gave it my all, yet I was unable to. Its brother is still making fun of it. Then the family shows up. They reprimand the brother of Arlo. Don't make fun of your brother. Arlo claims that you all believe I am powerless to intervene. I'll take action sometime. I'll leave my mark here as well. While Arlo was asleep at night, its father visited him. Its father instructs it to accompany it. They start walking after that. This moment is really adorable. The father of Arlo explains that you cannot act unless you experience fear. I wish to banish your anxiety. Be confident. You can handle this easily. Arlo then goes to sleep. As they awaken the following morning, Arlo's father discovers that someone has taken the food from their store. This indicates that some animal visited the area and either consumed all the food there or took it with it. They were all anxious. But Arlo's father informs his son that the moment has come to see how confident you are. That's what you took away from me, don't you? What did you discover? Bring the animal. That's your assignment. The creature that steals our food. It must be captured in the net. After that, you must kill it. Also, if you accomplish this, I'll allow you to put your mark there. Arlo was ecstatic to discover this. The trap is set with the aid of Arlo's father. Arlo then watches for that animal. The corns are placed in the area where the trap was set. Suddenly, an erratic child appears and begins harvesting those corns. This proves that the robber was a human, not an animal. Arlo is now hastily setting his trap for him. That youngster got caught in the net, yet he frequently shouts. He was begging for his release in his language. As Arlo hears and sees him, he is startled and wonders what unusual creature he is. It puzzles over and raises the trap. That troubled youth flees the area. As soon as Arlo's father gets there, what had you done? It reprimands it. You catch him, then you let him go. Everything was damaged by your dread. Come with me and put your fear aside. Let me banish your anxiety. Suddenly, Arlo's father wasn't berating it unnecessarily. It also desires to raise a morally upright son. The entire world will be terrified by it. Not being afraid of the world. Parents reprimand us for doing well. It travels with its father to a forest, and then it begins to rain. It rained much of the time. Arlo becomes alarmed. It tells its father to let it go back. The climate is not favorable. Its father instructs it to be quiet and follow me as we travel. The sky was filled with terrible thunder. Arlo's pulse was pounding quickly because he lacked courage. They kept falling on the stones because it was pouring at this time. Arlo's foot twists while he's walking and drops to the ground. It says to its father, just stop, please. Its father tells it that I too feel horrible for bringing my son here. But consider this. What will you do when you're older if I don't take away your fear? That's all right for now. Let's head back. Nonetheless, it soon begins to pour hard. The storm is coming since a strong wind was blowing. The stones fall with the water. With that, everything was moving. Father of Arlo orders it to turn upside down. With the aid of its jaws and tail, it flips its son Arlo over to prevent it from flowing during a flood. Yet by itself, it still has drawbacks. It is lost to that storm. Here, the screen goes dark for a while because the scenario was emotional. Arlo's father had passed away. From there, Arlo returns to its house. It also begins to collaborate with its siblings. It used to remain depressing. The same wild child was there when it was working. It makes sense to its mind. That father says to apprehend and murder him. It begins to move in his direction. Arlo manages to catch him, but it then falls into the stream and flows from there while arriving at a distant location. Now it was fading. When it awakens to reality, it discovers that it is alone itself. It was gloomy. Then, though, it notices that rascal. It begins to pursue him and approach from above. It then notices that stream, though. It is flowing back home. Then it thinks back to what its father said. Do not be alarmed when you see the steam, because you'll discover the path to your house. It begins to move along that stream, but it needed food. A fruit is seen. It was perched on a tree. Arlo begins to consume that fruit while maintaining its balance on a stone. The stone then falls, though. Arlo then descends that stone. Arlo's foot was now impaled by those stones. It makes several attempts to become free, yet it was unable to free itself. Even the night is here. The day is over. Arlo is also asleep, but it discovers that its foot was free when it wakes up in the morning. A hole has been excavated there by someone. Little footprints were also seen all around it. It is aware that these are the wild child's footsteps. He also sets Arlo free. Arlo bravely gets to his feet. It begins building a shelter or house in which it will dwell while gathering wood. Suddenly that mischievous child returns. He brings Arlo a lizard because it needed to eat, but Arlo tells him to keep a lizard far away. Arlo experiences the same fear since it was the wild lizard. Then the child brings a large bug after it. He removes the creature's head from his mouth, pointing for it to be eaten, but Arlo doesn't consume it either because it consumes only plants, fruits, and trees and is a vegetarian. The little child then realizes what it wants to consume. He delivers the fruit Arlo had spotted. Now that Arlo was starving, he consumes it quickly. That child is aware of what it wants. He brings it to a location where the tree that produced that fruit was present. This kind of berry was one of several on that tree. Arlo's mouth begins to moisten. It moves straight in its direction, but the youngster stops it. We initially struggled to comprehend why he stopped, yet a gigantic snake emerges from that tree when Arlo approaches it. It was going to go after Arlo, yet that brazen child pounces on the snake. They got into a battle, and at least that snake fled when it became terrified. They were now traveling to a location. In the meantime, a large beast emerges from the bushes and forests. On its horns, some birds could be seen. Who is that youngster with you? It asks Arlo. They can communicate with one another since they were all animals. I don't know his name, Arlo says. It says Arlo to name him. Then Arlo says Spot. Then that wild kid turns back and see. He could like this name. Spot makes Arlo his friend. They begin their joint stroll. Arlo was actually heading to its house, yet it was unable to comprehend the way. Then they move past a location with long grass. The grass is where Arlo waves its tail. Fireflies erupt from that grass in droves. They at first start to smile. Suddenly Arlo recalls that his father did the same thing to please Arlo. Again, it turns depressing. Sad Arlo settles down. Arlo is seated on a few little wood blocks in the dirt. The large piece of wood in the mud after that. Arlos was presumably describing its relatives to Spot. We were 5 members when my father passed away. It feels depressed once more when Spot doesn't respond. I'm informing them about it. But Spot then gets to his feet and places 3 wood blocks in the mud. And when he sees the little bit of wood, he gets depressed because he was that tiny bit of wood. He wants to claim that because his parents were dead, he is the last person left in the world. They sat there crying and giving each other hugs. They set out for their next destination the next day. But then the storm hits. It begins to rain severely. That was the same flood that killed his father. It becomes frightened and departs in a running motion. It is covered by a tree. Nevertheless, when it awakens, it realizes that the stream is far away. There were no streams visible, which it might utilize to look for his residence. It turns depressing and begins to advance. Suddenly, weird birds appear to it. They appeared to be intelligent birds. Can you tell me where the river is? finishes, Arlo asks the group, "I want to go home. How are we to comprehend it?" Birds say, "There is no connection between ourselves and it. We go outside to consume the birds who perished in the storm or flood." Arlo is questioned by those strange birds. "Have you seen that wild child? So tell us." Suddenly Arlo was afraid of them, because those birds just devoured a little animal that resembled a fox in front of Arlo. Arlo informs them of Spot's whereabouts while being terrified, but when it notices that the birds are chasing them, Arlo then commands Spot to sit on its back as he begins to flee. Then large dinosaurs come in front of them. They were much larger than Arlo's parents. Arlo becomes alarmed and begins to rush across. Then suddenly the parent of those dinosaurs, a massive dinosaur, appears. "Don't be afraid. We are also vegetarians," it tells Arlo when it calls back. "Can you tell me where the creek is?" Arlo then inquires. "I want to go home." It says, "Okay, I'll tell you, but I experienced a problem. My cows had been taken. To begin, you both assist me in locating my cows." Suddenly they all start looking for the cows. They locate the cows. Suddenly that enormous dinosaur claims that the location where the cows are present. There are also the thieves of them. "Are you seeing a stone there?" it asks Arlo. "Go and scream there, so that my cattle thieves would be exposed." It was terrified, yet it had to look for its home. That had to go there. Then its voice was so low as it screamed while standing in the stone. "That doesn't look like a dinosaur." Then Spot bites its foot. Now Arlo's true voice may be heard. It shouts outrageously. The cow thieves emerge as they listen to its sound. These were the tiny dinosaurs that resembled creepy birds. The enormous dinosaurs emerge from there as well and begins to assault them. They quarrel frequently. Eventually, those feeble and unsettling dinosaurs flee the area. The enormous dinosaurs depart while taking their cows. They were joined by Spot and Arlo. Then, at night, they were conversing with one another while seated around the fire. "I have a lot of power," the enormous dinosaur informed them, then begin describing its might. "That I have completed this or that task. My father, according to Arlo, was just as strong as you. And guess what? It didn't panic. No. My son," that enormous dinosaur says, "it is impossible. That nobody is afraid. Fear is a natural emotion that everyone experiences. But the true challenge is getting over it. Don't let fear rule you. Walk with it. You will immediately develop strength once you understand how to handle situations. Don't worry too much. We'll be at your place in the morning." Arlo is now relaxed. Then, in keeping with their word, everyone including the enormous dinosaur's cows moved to leave Arlo at his place of residence. They continue to travel until they reach a point where the clouds are over their heads. They could make out the mountains ahead. Along with those mountains, there was a stream. This indicates that Arlo's home was close by. "Kids, I've brought you here," the enormous dinosaur tells Spot and Arlo. "We must return. Go home safely now." Arlo jumps to that side and gets joyful. Spot and Arlo begin to shout because they were satisfied. But then we see that a wild person was also speaking in their language. That person caught the Spot's attention. Arlo is holding Spot as he approaches. It forces him to lean on its back as it moves. It reaches those stones, but those spooky birds return. Spot is held by them and taken away. Arlo attempts to set him free, yet it falls. Arlo was now trapped in the wild woods. It was severely stuck. Arlo starts to cry, but then its father approaches it from behind. Arlo dislodges itself from the tree's snares right away. It begins to follow its father. It remarks that its father has returned when it is viewing him. "You were present." But Arlo realizes that just its own footsteps were visible in the damp dirt, not its father's. This indicates that it was all in its head. "You must look for Spot," its father has suggested in its mind. Spot was something Arlo longed to find because he was absent. Arlo advances and begins to yell. After putting Spot in a wood, it notices that the creepy birds are attempting to attack him. Spot, on the other hand, was hidden in that forest. The first time someone becomes Arlo's friend, when he observes him in this state, he gets angry, and it is in this scene that we first notice Arlo's maturity and aggression. Loud shouts from Arlo, but then the flood occurs. Everything was moving with it. Arlo doesn't give a damn about it, and it dives into the stream. Spot was rescued. Spot is removed from the stream in some way, but its body was severely damaged. This indicates that it was seriously hurt. They continue from there. On Arlo's back, the Spot was perched. Suddenly he spots that untamed person once more. This time, Arlo consents to him visiting that man. Spot then jumps off of its tail and dashes in the direction of the wild guy. He recognizes him as his father. There were also his mother and siblings, the love of Spot's father. He forces him to sit on his lap. lap. Arlo too thinks about its family when it witnesses this touching scene, and it turns depressing. Spot then runs to it right away and occupies it. This indicates that he still intends to use it to look for Arlo's family. He wants to proceed while preventing him from approaching its mouth. Arlo tells him to see his family. You belong here. Love and attention are due to you. They part ways in a sorrowful manner, and willingly, Arlo is now approaching its family. Arlo proceeds forward and eventually spots its house in front. It begins to cry. Together with it, its mother and siblings arrive from the front. They cross paths, but they also missed Arlo's father, the patriarch of their family. You did a fantastic job. According to Arlo's mother, you will finally realize your father's wish today. It stated that you may leave your mark on that day once you had completed tremendous work. Come in and leave your fingerprint. Arlo starts to smile that it had realized its father's desire. It flourishes as its father wants. Its father wasn't there, but it will always be powerful and will never forget its father. It also aligns its footprint with that of its father with it. The movie's plot comes to a close with this resolution. I hope you enjoyed the film. For more videos, please subscribe our channel and hit the bell icon to get notification.